Hey, what's up, guys? It's Northeast Kingdom. It's your boy Sneaky Christian. And I got my main man here.
Yo,
And today we were going to talk about actually Isaiah's college experience since he actually did something with his life and went to college.
uh, it wasn't anything too special.
No, I'd imagine not. Not in Randolph.
Mm-mm. Nope. Everything about it was just not, wasn't what I thought it was gonna be. Or actually, what they told us it was gonna be. We could,
Yeah.
nah.
UVM and Castleton are probably the only two Vermont schools worth going to.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't
That's the
really
only ones
talk
I
to. What's up?
it's the only ones I can think of.
Yeah. Um, I think those are really the only two bigger schools in
I mean,
Vermont,
I've
anyway.
never really heard too much about Norwich, but
Yeah, it's a good school. It's not like a school that people really think about. It's more of a military oriented school. So,
yeah, not the kind of school that we'd go to probably. But
well, you can still go as a civilian, but like I said, it's mostly military oriented.
yeah.
I know quite a few people that go there because Norwich is actually really close to Vermont Tech. So
Yeah,
it wasn't,
I remember dropping GJ off once up there.
yeah, it wasn't rare for people from Vermont Tech to be up there, or for people from Norwich to be down at Vermont Tech.
Yeah.
It was pretty much, I think it's only, I think Norwich is the next exit, if I remember right.
Hmm.
It's in Northfield, either way, whatever exit that is,
Yeah.
not too far. Where do I start? Well,
Well, I mean, start with your freshman year. Like, what was your first impression of this place? Like, because it's not really that big of a school either.
no, it's not. I think we had maybe, I don't even think we had 2,000 people on campus. And before we get there, like not the freshman orientation, but where you go, or yeah, I think it is the freshman orientation, where you go before, it actually all starts up and, all the upperclassmen get there and all that.
Yeah.
It's basically in the time where they try to convince you that you chose the right school and how everything's going to be great. So they try to like clean up the school. They put out good food. Um, everybody's nice and all that.
Yeah.
They just usually put on some events, like obviously in the spring when you get there. It's August. Yeah, the freshmen get there late August.
That's summer, dude.
Yeah, so they had stuff like volleyball going on, along with out basketball outside pickup games. They would try to get all that kind of shit going, and they actually had a fucking movie, bro. They had set up a band for the first Saturday that you're there, and they had
Damn.
a big screen behind it, like a big screen. They were playing, what was it, Pirates of the Caribbean, and it was all right. It was cool. You get to
What's the
meet.
point of having a band in front of a movie playing?
They were at different times. The band
Oh,
was
okay.
earlier in the day, and then once nightfall came, you could stay out and watch the movie or do whatever.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. So freshman orientation, it was all right. I mean, it did seem like a decent school at first, but then you started to get into what's actually going on,
Yeah, and
and
Maury
you're
Hall is selling rats.
basically, I'm pretty sure that's where the coronavirus probably started. If there was ever a case in Vermont that was in that area, that's where it came from.
Yeah.
So after all that, you start getting into real shit, and you realize, wow, this school is actually not good. This was not a good choice at all. And people around you are also saying the same thing. They're like, they made it seem so good. This school is fucking retarded, and everything is not. at all what they said. The classes, they had no idea what the hell was going on. Which I understand at first, every college is probably like that, with everybody getting their classes set up and changing your dorm room or your roommate if you don't like them,
Yeah.
which is probably a normal thing.
Well, you had a great roommate, didn't you?
Which year?
Freshman year.
No. This guy, okay, so my first roommate was very much a square. Not
Yeah.
not in the sense of like he was he tried, but we were just not at all the same person. This dude, he was the kind of guy who he had glasses on, typical white dude from a rich area in Mass. Okay, glasses. He kind of had like he talked through like his nose almost. Good kid by all means, but we were just not at all the same person. I'd be walking in the dorm at like 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, and he would be in bed, and sometimes he'd wake up, and I'm probably usually buzzed walking in
Yeah.
there, and I just would look at him, and I'd be respectful, take my shoes off, be quiet, go to sleep. But there's a couple times I'd walk in, and he'd like kind of look up at me, and I'm thinking, I'm like, this ain't gonna work, bro. This ain't gonna work. And he was all right though. He didn't really say much. I tried to get him to like hang out. I tried hanging out with him. Just so awkward, bro. So awkward. He's not. What did he? He was in fire science. So he hung out with his crew pretty much, and I was in the diesel crew, which was the definitely the rowdiest crew there. But everybody liked hanging out with us because we know how to party. We know how to live.
Yeah.
There was a couple of fire science kids that hung out with us, but like the mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, all them, we didn't. No, they stayed to themselves. Oh, in construction too, we hung out with them. Um, More about the school though. They have the same beds from around 1970 something, if I had to guess. Them bitches are
Yeah.
whooped, bro.
Well, you had a mattress on top of your actual bed, didn't you?
Yeah, yeah, I did, and it did help out a lot. But when I first got there, I didn't know that, and that bed, I think my back is bad now. Oh my god, that bed definitely didn't help. So there's that. The bathrooms were never clean. Never clean. I have a video. This was actually my senior slash sophomore year, whatever you want to call it, of the me walking in the bathroom, and I kid you not, and there was a propane leak in our bathroom my second year for probably I don't know 4 months. We had mentioned it to them multiple times. Nobody came and fixed it. They didn't even. They always would bring it up like, oh, okay, we're gonna get someone in. We're gonna get someone in. I think a custodian showed up once, and he wasn't even working on that, bro. All he did was mop the floor, and then he did something. I think one of the kids broke a mirror or some shit. Didn't do anything about the
Yeah.
propane. So we ended up having to leave that door open. But there was one night I walked in, there was dead flies all over the place, gnats like crazy. You remember the gnats?
Yeah.
Fucking fruit flies all over the place. And I opened the stall, bro. There was toilet paper and shit everywhere. Not even close to in the toilet. It was
The
behind the
fuck?
toilet, on the toilet. And it was like, it looked like somebody had taken toilet paper and like ripped it up into small pieces and just put it on the floor. And there was some getting into the stall before it. I was
Did
like,
you
this,
guys live with animals?
yes. I don't,
Like you guys, there's a pack of raccoons inside of fucking Vermont
oh,
Tech.
dude, that was my last straw. As soon as that happened, I was done. I gave up. We lost power at that school probably once every, definitely once a week.
Damn.
Yep. And the last month and a half of my last year, we didn't have any cold water or any hot water. Sorry. So we all had to end up going to either a different building and using their uh, showers. There's been a lot of times where the food was wicked undercooked, like bad. Like I'm not a
Yeah.
picky eater whatsoever, but there was pork at one point, and there was this dude in front of me because I was still in line to get my food. The dude in front of me was just going off on these guys. He was like, "If you don't fucking cook this food, look at this. Look at the fucking pork. This is not how you cook pork." And there's like one of those people that um they're that person that's always trying to start some shit, but it was bad. It needed to be brought up, dude. This
Yeah.
fucking pork was pink, dude. Pink.
That's fucked.
And he was like, How many people have you fucking given this to? And they were just all looking around at each other. They didn't know nothing. And I was like, nah, I'm done. I didn't eat basically the rest of the time that I was there.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that you were eating like leftovers from your mom's house and shit
Yeah, I
on
couldn't.
the
Yeah,
weekends.
there's no way, dude. There was that, and prior to that, people had found flies in their salad, and a lot of times we would get food from like the day before, and they would literally just heat it up, and they would put something else on it or make a different dish out of it. The day before, it might
Yeah.
have been um, like hamburgers and mac and cheese or something like that, and then the next day, it would be like taco shit. But it was definitely not fresh taco meat at all. Dude. It's literally like they took whatever was left from the hamburgers, just like chopped it up and then gave it to us. We're like, here's tacos. Nah, bro. What the fuck?
That's fucked.
Yeah. College college was crazy.
Yeah. What was the well, I guess what was like the craziest thing that happened?
I would oh shit, dude, there's a
Either to
lot.
you or just at the school, you know?
Hmm. I'm trying to remember. Quite a few of the nights are not I can't remember
Yeah.
because I'm just having a good time. Shit. I don't know. You'd have to get back to me on that. I can't really think of anything right now. I'll keep it in mind though.
Yeah.
Uh, there's literally in the beginning it was cool because we would go to this one spot and have a big ass fire, and a lot of the guys had trucks, so we would all just grab steel pallets and go up and have a fire and hang out and all that shit. And then
Yeah.
eventually that got shut down, so we started going to another dude's house, but he lived an exit up, so it was a little bit of a drive. So you just had to make sure you had someone that was going to be able to drive back. So we'd go there. That was fun, but that was only for probably like I don't know 2 months. But then he ended up leaving because what he does for work is he travels around and does stuff, something to do with making or helping build houses or whatever.
Yeah.
A lot of crazy parties.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Also, the fucking guy to girl ratio there is probably 12-1. So
Yeah, I didn't see no girls the night I went up there.
no.
There was not a single one. There was just that one weird dude when I came out the bathroom the next morning, and that was it.
Tony.
I don't know who it was, bro.
Wait, which dude
He
was it?
had
What did
a
he say?
he had a short sleeve button up that was like yellowish with like lines and shit, like you mean just like that checker pattern, and
Because I think
he had like
you
these
mentioned
cargo
this
shorts
before.
on. Yeah, I told you that morning. Cause like, bro, what the fuck is up with this school? And he had like cargo shorts on with a belt, and he had his shirt tucked in, and he had these glasses on, and like I can't remember how his hair was. I think it was like a lighter brown and like almost curly, but not like Elijah's curly, you know.
Right.
And then When I came out the bathroom, he just smiled at me, and he was getting a sip of water, stood up, smiled at me, and just stared, but like a full grin, like the Chester cat. You know what I mean? Like, and I just gave him a dirty look. I was like, bro, it's 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm a little hungover. Like, don't fucking look at me. Like, what is,
Well,
like, what
that's
is it?
how it
And I
was
just
though.
stared at him. I just stared at him because I didn't know what to do. I just looked at him like, what's good? And then he just like ran down the, like, literally ran down the hall. And I was like, fuck this. We got to leave.
Yeah,
We got to go.
that's how shit be happening there though. Weird,
Uh,
weird
uh,
people there. Unless,
there are those tweakers at Cumbies.
yeah, there was a lot of tweakers up there. A lot of tweakers. There was one night, me and I forget who I was with. It might have been uh his name was Emery. He was my roommate my second year, but me and him are really
Yeah.
good friends, first and second year. I might have been with him. I was at the gas station at the barn, and this dude was out standing outside. We were just sitting in the car. We had gotten, I don't know, something to eat or whatever, and we were just sitting there. And this dude walks up, so I rolled my window down. I was like, "What's going on?" And he was like, "Hey, if you bring me down to the other gas station, I'll give you $100 right now." And I looked over at my buddy, and he just kind of shrugged his shoulders. And he was like, "That doesn't sound like a bad idea." I was like, uh, "You don't have another ride?" He's like, "No, I tried calling, they're not answering, nothing." And I was like, "All right." So I get out and I let him in. And right, this dude was dressed in all black, bro, all black. He had a backpack on and a beanie. I was like, I don't even care at this point. So I let him in, and we're driving down. He was just going on about how his ride isn't answering the phone or nothing like that. So I bring it down. On the way down there, I knew he didn't have $100. We had nothing else better to do, so we pull in, and he hops in this other person's car. He's like, "Oh, thanks so much." This, that, the other thing. He never brought up the money, and I was like, I already knew I wasn't gonna get it just by the way that this person looked.
Yeah.
And he hops in the car, and he was like, "Fucking," I don't know what he said, but he said something that was like, "Oh, I got you," or something like that. And then they just took off, and my buddy was like, "That guy's a fucking prick or a douchebag." He said something like that. And I was like, whatever. It wasn't far at all. It was just at the very bottom of the hill there.
Oh, did you just go from the barn to Cumbies?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's people like that everywhere over there.
Yeah. But what is even the point of like
He could have
I
walked.
don't get it. Did he not only that, did he like think he was playing a joke on you guys? Is
I
that
know.
why he says, "Oh, I got you"? Like what?
Oh,
I don't get it.
I have no idea. But that's the kind of people they have to deal with up there. Pretty much. Literally nothing to do though. Fucking nothing to do. Everything's shuts or closes early. There's no movie theater. There's one McDonald's that closes at, I think it was 11:30, and there's like three gas stations. The only one that was open all day was the barn.
But yeah, but they're right off the highway. That's like a truck gas station.
Yeah, that's all it was. It was just an interstate gas station. You pull off and it's right there. Other than that, there's no mall. There's no stores that you can just go and walk around. It was easily a 30-minute drive to do anything. So we just got fucked up all the time. I
Yeah.
mean, and just did dumb shit.
Now you said you went on a lake or something, right?
Oh yeah, I went on a cruise. I went on a cruise for $10. I was like, I've never been on a cruise before. I don't know how I'm gonna be with big boats or whatever. I was like, for $10, fucking right, I'm going to that. So
Yeah.
I did. I found out I have motion sickness. One and two. It was a good time. It was on Lake Champlain.
Yeah.
Is where it was. So we drove up to Burlington in a shuttle bus. Pre-gamed on the bus, even though we weren't supposed to. But there was a couple people that like put nips in their pocket and just hit them wherever they could, and then we bought just like a fuck ton of Gatorade and shit. Drank on the bus all the way up there, and it was fun though until it started to rain like a motherfucker, and then the boat
Did
started to
it?
get a little funky, and then I started to get a little sketched out. But by that point, I was already pretty well, started pretty well in the bag, so I didn't really care too much.
No, yeah, you don't give a shit.
And I don't know if it was because the food at my school was so trash and that was just normal food, or they had some like actual chefs on that boat. They said they were going to, but I didn't believe it. I was like, for $10, how good per person? How good of a chef can you fucking are you gonna hire?
Yeah, yeah, it's gonna be like airplane food. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Just giving you crackers and cheese.
that's what I thought, bro. Full meal, full like.
Damn,
Oh yeah, and they had well by the time we got there, it was just dinner, and then they had dessert later on, and that shit was fire.
was it?
Yeah, I actually forgot that I went on that. That's crazy. Damn. There was a lot of drama at that school though too.
Oh, I bet.
I didn't involve myself in really.
No, but the small schools, everybody knows everybody. You're gonna have
Oh,
some bullshit.
it's so trash. Not to mention the 12-1 ratio, kind of.
Kind of ruined everything.
Yeah, yeah. People get around.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there was that.
Hey man, shit happens.
Mm. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what my craziest time would be. Oh, actually, yes, I do. There was one night. There's a house called the Soccer House,
Yeah.
and that's where we would all go to party on. Was it Tuesday nights? I think it was. Oh no, Thursday. Yeah, there were Thursday nights. We'd go over there. It's either the Soccer House or Water Street. Although my second year at Water Street didn't really do much due to the people that had moved out from the year prior. But there was one
Yeah.
night we were all there, all doing our thing. But there were townies that had showed up, and everything was going good. Then all of a sudden, somebody had either stole something or somebody said something, and then there was people fighting outside. I was inside. I think I was playing beer pong or something. And I go out to get my backpack, and it's just people fighting. And they were all friends that I knew pretty well. And I was like,
Yeah.
fuck, dude. Like, so I hop in. I just grab my buddy Bryce, who's a big dude. He's in the National Guard. And he can go to school, but when he's not at school, he goes there. And he actually had left a couple times for training or whatever it is that he has to do. So I
Yeah.
hop in, and there's this chick. And they were actually in high school, bro. We didn't know that. And this chick, I guess her dad like was pretty well known in the town, and she was just going on and on about that. Oh, do you know who I am? Blah blah this that the thing. I was like, bro, I don't fucking care. Why are you here? And they're just going at
No,
all
yeah.
these
How are you gonna start some shit and ask if they know who you are when you were like just showing up, not knowing nobody there?
Yep. So they all got in a fight, big ass fight, bro. Twice actually. Once outside and then once inside because they had left after all that. It was like a 15-minute ordeal. They had left, and then everybody came back in. We were all just cooling down, and then it started up again.
Yeah.
And then again, I don't know. They fucking came back, and that same chick walks in. It was this big bitch, bro. Big
Of course
bitch.
it was. Of course it was.
Fucking
Big girls got nothing better to do with their lives than start bullshit.
fucking short, and her. I don't even know if it was her boyfriend or whatever, but they just looked like pretty much scumbags, and they are scumbags for doing that. So they walk back in and instantly just start trying to fight people, and I saw it happen. So she walked in, and somebody that probably one of the most innocent people there was just trying to walk by, but the door opens outward. I don't know why,
Yeah.
but it opens, or no, inwards, I guess. If you're coming in the house, you push the door open, and right in front of the door would be stairs. And he was trying to walk by, and she opened it right in front of him. And so it
Damn.
almost hit him. And so he was just trying to like sneak by, and she lasered him straight in the chest. And I saw it happen from across the room. I was like, yo, what the fuck? And then her boyfriend came in, and as soon as she hit that dude, Bryce got back up, and he was like, I told you to get the fuck out, blah, blah. And so instantly people are like getting up and starting to fight. And this chick just started trying to beat that kid up for no reason. And I walked up to her and I was about to be like, yo, fucking chill. And she looked at me and she punched me in the shoulder hard as shit. And if I had been like any less considerate about hitting a woman, I definitely would have plowed this bitch's teeth back. I would have plowed this fat bitch's teeth back. And she was like, don't fucking touch me. I'm like, ooh, you so lucky, dog. But luckily there was another chick there that was bigger than her. Not like fat, but just a lot stronger than her. And, you know, she was in fitness and all that.
For sure.
And I was hoping she would show up, but she didn't. I don't even know where the fuck she was at. But eventually that all cooled down. And it was just, I ended up leaving. Because soon after that happened, somebody was like, yo, pub safe. And I don't know if they were actually there, but it definitely got everybody out of the house. And
that's a fast way to get a party shut down, is just fucking...
Oh, shit, yeah. So I was on my way out, but the guys who owned the house were like, hey, if you don't want to leave yet, you don't have to leave. You know, you can hang out here. But they only told, like, maybe 15 people out of there was a lot of people that night.
Yeah.
Not including those people, probably 40 people, which is a good amount of people. I mean, it's not a huge house. And it's not like you could only go upstairs to use the bathroom because there was a bathroom downstairs. But with that many people, that would be the only way you could go upstairs to use the bathroom. So as soon as that happened, I was like, fuck. So I was starting to get all my shit together. Everybody was pretty much gone. And I stayed back with like maybe 10 other people. And we just hung out. I only hung out for like 10 minutes after that. And I'm going back to my room. And then everybody was talking about it. And then somebody had that chick Snapchat that started all that. And on her story, it's them back at like her farm or some shit. And she was like, yeah, we fucking showed them, blah, blah, trying to show off. Her boyfriend's got like a black eye and her hair's all fucked up and shit. And they're like drinking or whatever. And I was like, what the fuck is these people's problems? They had nothing else better to do, though, which is probably half the reason why they started.
There's nothing to do out there. So it was like, fuck it. Might as well just go throw hands with somebody.
Yeah, with us, for no reason. Mind our own business. They ain't going to walk in and try some shit. They didn't do it again, though, because they all got pretty well fucked up.
Yeah.
Yo, what's up? You're listening to Northeast Kingdom, and we're actually going to tell you something that's pretty cool. You listen to us through Anchor. It's free. If you haven't heard about it, there's tools that you can use that you can record and edit from your phone or your laptop. It'll distribute the podcast for you. So you can be heard on Spotify, Apple, a bunch of platforms. You can make money from it. You know what I'm saying? If your pocket's a little shallow, that's what it is. Just be sure to download it through the Apple Store, or you can go on anchor.fm and get started right there.
And Google Play. Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
You got into something, didn't you? A little bit? I guess it wouldn't be a fight, but...
Oh, yeah. That was just... Well, at first I thought we were just fucking around, but the other dude took it serious. And then it ended up being a fight. But
yeah,
we were drunk anyway, so after it was done, we sat down, didn't talk to each other for like 4 minutes. And then he looked at me, he was like, bro, that was so fucking dumb. I was like, hey, cheers to that. And then we were cool. That was it. Right? Yeah. Everyone else around us was like, oh my God, they hate each other. This, that, the other thing. But no, it's cool. We actually, we talked after that and everything. So, it's actually a video of it. I got a video of that too.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I got somebody else was taking a video of it. But no, it's all good. It's chill.
Always.
Well, obviously we were drinking. It's a big surprise there, right? And then I don't know, fucking all them dudes in one room. There wasn't one chick in fucking all. So testosterone was just building and building.
That's to say, just way too much testosterone and way too much fireball, and then it's just stupid shit happens.
It was just recipe for disaster, pretty much. But yeah, that's about how my college experience went. A lot of partying.
Oh, yeah.
And classes sucked. Teachers were awful. They lied to us about every fucking thing they said when it came to my major. So that's about it. That's the reason why I went home every weekend too, because I couldn't sit up there. There's nothing new. Everybody goes home. So
You were up there for so long and still coming home every weekend that I've once picked you up and dropped you off in the Integra, and I've done it in the BMW.
Yep. Yeah, damn,
And
that's
that's
crazy.
2 years right there.
Hmm. Oh yeah. I'm sure at some point I remember other shit.
Yeah.
I'd be more than happy to tell, but I think that's about all I got. But we're about halfway through, so let's hear about your apartment, buddy.
The apartment. All right. Yeah. So when you were in school, I ended up moving out and getting three roommates, and it's all friends from Springfield and Claremont. And we got an apartment in Springfield, and it was right middle of town. You know what I mean? And our neighbors were crackheads for one. They were
Facts.
on some shit. They had like four kids, and they couldn't control a single one. Half their kids just ran around without shirts and just a diaper, but they were like well too old to be wearing diapers. they
Right.
were like five. They were like 5 years old, still wearing diapers. I was like, bro, use a bathroom. Like you are old enough now. But they ended up being all right people. They were just
Yeah.
they were just out there. You know what I mean? They were just out there. There
Yeah.
were certain times I just couldn't fuck with them. Like they schemed a lot of shit. Like you can tell they were pretty much scumbags. Like they were just trying to find ways to like get money from people without actually working or doing nothing.
Right.
Actually, the dude, he used to be a runner for this dealer down in Connecticut, I believe it was, or Mass. And the reason he kept getting in trouble was because he outran the cops, and then I guess they were trying to find him, and then found him. And when they found him, he got a DUI at the same time.
Yeah.
So that screwed everything. So the winter I was there, or actually in the spring is when he got arrested for it, and he wasn't home for like a weekend, and we were all like, "Well, that's kind of weird that homie never came home."
Hmm.
And he ends up coming back like Tuesday, I think it was. And I get home from work, he's having a cigarette on the porch, and that's right over. And this is when I was smoking the Marb Reds, so I just had one with him, just shooting the shit.
Cowboy killers.
And hell yeah, and he was telling me what happened, and he got pulled over for a DUI, and fucking, they were like, he ended up going to court that Monday, and it was more of like a hearing, you know.
Right.
And they were telling him all his shit, and then he actually went to court like a week or two afterwards, and they told him in the summer he was gonna go to jail for about a year or so. And he was telling me all about it. I was like, damn, that sucks, bro. And he was like, yeah, but it is what it is. Like, I got to make as much money as I can right now. And I was
It
like,
is what
true.
it is, bro. What did you expect was gonna happen? You
Yeah,
can't.
bro. Like,
Come on. I
well, because
mean,
it's not like pot either. Like, he was moving drugs.
right. Yeah, I mean,
Like you seen
you
him at the
kind of screwed
house.
yourself from
You
the
saw him at
start.
the house. Like, yeah, he was always tweaking on something. And yeah, so that was that. That was my neighbor. And the apartment itself, though, it was decent sized. Yeah, it was a four bedroom, one and a half bath with a full dining room and full living room, obviously, and then a kitchen. And then the half bath was off the kitchen, and the full bath was upstairs with all the bedrooms. And then we had a pretty decent sized deck, and then a pool that was going to be torn down by the landlord because it was a liability with the neighbors having kids.
Yeah, I remember that.
But it was winter anyway, so we weren't going to use the pool. But no, we had a lot of fun times in that house. When we moved in, we said it's not going to be a trap house, and we're not going to party. That was the thing. We were like, it's not happening. We're gonna keep everything clean and good.
Reverse
A
card.
week and a half in, yeah, a week and a half in, fucking, we all got bored and we were like, all right, let's throw a fucking party. We were like, we waited long enough,
Yes,
and
sir.
so the first party we threw there, people were doing acid, and I'm sitting there just drinking and smoking like I usually do, you know, and we had
Lounging,
a
bro.
pong table set up, and we were just chilling, and out of nowhere, I go outside and have a cigar. And I think, yeah, you were there. So me and you, I was with you. We went outside and had a cigar. And shooting the shit. That's when that dude came out, or people came out, and they're like, some dude's crying inside. And I was, that's weird. That doesn't normally happen at a party. And I guess somebody made a yo mama joke to him, not knowing his mother died. So I was like, well, that sucks. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of like I don't know how to handle the situation. I don't.
Want a beer, bro?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like how do you? So that it kind of calmed itself down. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then one of my roommates said the N word in front of a black kid, and
Oh
that
yeah, that was this
I was
one.
not. I was not there for that situation because I was going to the parking lot. We had everybody park at a parking lot down the hill from our house. And I was going down there to get Isaiah. And then on the walk back up, we're saying hi to everybody. And when we walk in, it's like the end of that situation. So it must have started right when I left the house. And we get back, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? I'm asking people, like, what's good? What's good? Like, why are people like tweaking? And Crispy ended up telling me what happened and
Oh,
all that
so
shit.
what?
And I was
What
like,
probably happened if it's the night that I'm thinking of? I had just showed up, so
yeah,
when
I
we
was right
had
next
this,
to you.
yeah, when we had the cigar, that was after this situation
Yeah, it
happened.
was.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
okay, so you had went down and got me, and then I wasn't there yet. I hadn't shown up yet until just then. At,
until just then. Yeah.
right.
And we're all like, me and Isaiah are more like just more confused than anything because we're like, what the hell's going on? Like, I'm like, I live here and there's people about to start throwing hands. Like, what the hell? And I was like, I was down to watch a fight. I didn't really give a shit. We had nothing expensive in the kitchen. It was just a pong table and an American flag on the wall. Like, that was it. There was nothing special. There was nothing special about that dining room.
I
And so I
yeah.
was like, if people start throwing hands right here, it is what it is. It's not even our pong table. Well, it's not mine at least, you know. It was one of my roommates with the laundry rooms. So I was like, whatever, dude, go at it. But they calmed
Send it, man.
themselves down. They calmed themselves down and people diffused the situation and shit. But towards the end of the night, people are being told to like leave. Like we're telling people to leave pretty much. We're like, all right, go, get out. But like I said, they're all on acid. So one dude ran away and nobody could
Oh
find him.
my
Nobody could
god,
find
I
him.
remember
He
that.
wasn't texting nobody back. So we're all trying to figure out what the hell's going on. And the crackhead neighbor came out and was asking us like, "What's good?" He's like, "You guys are being loud on the porch. You guys got to be quiet. I have kids sleeping." And I was like, "I respect that. That's cool." There's somebody tripping out in the middle of Springfield, just running around like an idiot.
Right.
So I'm talking to the neighbor, and these girls are throwing a fit. It's like, "You guys aren't looking for him." Da 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 da. Going on and on. Like, that's my friend. He's on acid. He's doing this. He's doing that, and he's lost. And I was like, "Free fucking lax. We're in the middle of town, bro.
Right.
He's either in someone's backyard or he's walking down the street. Like, can everybody calm down for a second?" I was like, "You're not helping nobody. Just standing on my porch yelling at me. Bitch, I live here and that's not my friend. I could go to bed right now and not give a shit. Like, I will lock the door and go to bed." So
Probably what
they're
we
going
should have
on and on
done,
about that,
honestly.
honestly. But eventually they end up coming back and everybody's like trying to calm down. And we're like, all right, you guys got to leave. Not realizing that they only brought one DD for probably 9 people in their group.
There's a lot of people.
And everybody besides that one person was on more than acid, actually. I found out later, but they were
Yep.
on a mix of drugs and they were not able to drive. So by that point, I think it was probably like midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. And I was like, fuck it. I'll drive Jay home, actually, because Jay was there. So I drove Jay home. And then you were chilling in the parking lot with everybody while they were figuring shit out. And I think Crispy drove some people home. And
I
I
can't
got,
remember.
yeah, because I got back and you were still in the parking lot down at the bottom of the hill.
Right.
And they, when I got back, I saw you and I was like, bro, you staying here or you going home? Because you only lived 2 minutes away,
Literally.
literally 2 minutes away. It was like two stoplights and you're home. And so I was like, bro, you chilling here? You going home? Like, what's good? And you were like, I'm just gonna head home. I was like, all right. So then you ended up piecing, but Devin and I can't remember who was with him, but they were in the car still. And he's like, bro, I can't drive. And they started getting in my car when I was talking to you. And I was like, what's
Yeah.
good? And they were like, hey, I can't drive. Do you want to drive us home and we'll pick up the car tomorrow? And I was like, yeah, I got you. Here's my boys. So I was like, yeah, I got you. It's whatever.
Yeah.
And so I drive them home. And actually, I dropped him off at the gas station in Claremont because they live not far from there. So he's like, "Yeah, just drop us off here." And when I get home, Crispy's ass is cleaning the house at 2:30 in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning. And I was like, "Bro, are you good? Like, what's up?" Oh no, he didn't drive nobody home. Remember, because when we
Yeah.
were driving everybody home, he stayed.
No.
And when he was cleaning, I remember he stayed and cleaned because he was tripping with them, and he didn't know what to do because he lives there. So he was like, "Fuck it," and just started cleaning the house. And I was like, "Bro, what are you doing?" And he was like, "Oh, I'm just cleaning, you know." And I was like, "Bro, go to bed. We'll clean it in the morning. Like, it's a Friday night. We have all Saturday to clean this
Yep.
up. Relax, bro."
Literally.
So I think he stayed up a little bit longer and then went to bed. And in the morning, I'm hungover as shit, and I get woken up because one of the roommates busts in my room, and they just like throw the door open and starts yelling, and I'm still asleep in my tank top and boxers, just chilling. And I was like, "What's up?" And he's like, "My PlayStation got stolen. Do you know where it is? Does it look like I know where your PlayStation is?" Like, bro, I just woke up. So then he's going on about how it got stolen, 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 this and that, whatever. So I get out of bed and I put sweatpants on and walk downstairs. And everybody in my house is already downstairs talking about it. And I went to go grab a drink, and I went to grab ice or something. And I opened the freezer, and we had gotten hams from work for Christmas because this is in December. And when I opened the freezer, my two roommates grabbed maple hams because two of my roommates worked with me in the same building. They grabbed maple hams. I grabbed a honey ham, and the only ham missing was the honey ham. And I was like, "Bro, they stole a honey ham too." And everybody was like, "What?" And I was like, "They stole my fucking ham."
I
I was like, "They
remember
stole my
that.
fucking ham." So he's still going on about the PlayStation, and I kind of dropped the ham for a little bit because I was like, "All right, this is obviously not as serious as a PlayStation," but I was still a little upset. Our oven didn't even work at the time, so there was no point in even really being pissed off. Like, what am I gonna do? Microwave the
Well, the
ham?
fact of the matter is like the fact of yeah, the fact of the matter is these people were so either messed up or just such low people that they stole a
That's
fucking
the thing.
ham, dude.
This thing is a ham. That's the
Literally
craziest
a
shit I've
ham.
ever seen stolen. I've never seen someone steal a ham. But anyway, I guess a backpack was missing, a pair of Beats, and a bunch of shit. Turns out one of the kids, there was two cousins there, and one of the ones was the one who started crying, and the other one was the one who ran away. I guess. And long story short, they were the ones who took it. We found out eventually after a couple of days, and the PlayStation never got returned. Nothing. They lived like 3 towns away, and it wasn't my shit to really care about. So I was like, whatever, dude, you know. And yeah, so that was that. But the apartment was crazy. We um we all work like weekdays, but the week gets long, so every Wednesday we were throwing parties, and then we'd party Friday and Saturday. But at one point, I was tutoring. You
Yeah.
remember that? And it was nice as
Yeah.
hell out. I want to say it was like April or May. It was one of the last few months we were there because we only lived there for 6 months, and there was issues
Mm-hmm.
with rent and shit. I'm not gonna get into all that. That's drama. But yeah. So I'm tutoring, and I knew I had to tutor that day, but I kind of just I was like, I'll be all right if I take like one bong rip, you know. And then one turned to two, one turned to two,
Right.
and then
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
two
It just
turned to
never
three, and
worked,
then I
man.
was having a few Budweisers and shit, and I was just chilling. And then it hit me that I had to tutor in like a half hour, and I lived like 5 minutes walking from the library where I was tutoring. So I was like, gang, I don't even got to drive to this motherfucker. So I show up to the library, red eyed Jedi, just chilling. And the kid I was tutoring, he was a freshman in high school at the time. And he, he was there already. And he was like, "Hey, how's it going?" And I was like, "Good, how you doing, buddy?" We're just shooting the shit for a second and then go inside. I could not tutor. And it
Yeah.
was weird because like in high school, like we would do that shit and go back to class, you know, and I was passing all my classes, and it's not like it was an issue, you know, I was still functioning and able to do my work and pass and learn like that.
Literally never
Never.
was an
I
issue, man.
started,
It
but
never
until
was
I
an
had to
issue.
teach somebody. And that's when it hit me that I can learn this shit all day and I can do the math all day, but I can't teach someone how to do it like that. Luckily, I ended up just showing him how to do it pretty much. Like I was just doing the math and then showing him. And I was like just walking him through how I did it instead of having him do it like I usually do. Because I tutored this kid a
Right.
lot. And before any of you guys get mad that I did this kid went from a 1.5 to a 2.8 in one class, this is the only class I was tutoring him in. So either way, I brought him from damn near failing to being like decent, you know? And well, he got a 2.8 on one test. I think his average grade, that was the test 2 weeks after I started tutoring him. He got a 2.8 and his average was a 1.5. So eventually, by the end of it, he ended up passing with like a pretty damn good grade. And it worked out.
So
Yeah,
it
it
worked
did. I
out.
really did. And it was cool because his parents work with me, or his mom and stepdad, but pretty much, I just say parents is easy. Um,
Right.
yeah, like I call my
So it's
stepdad and
parents.
my mom my parents. Like, but
Yeah.
yeah, it was pretty cool. And then he ended up being like wicked chill. Actually, like I fucked with hanging out with him. He was a little bit slower, I guess, in like the social aspect of it, you know. But he was
Yeah.
actually like a really smart kid, and I fucked with hanging out with him. Like there were certain times I was tutoring him where we would just be like he would be solving out a math problem in front of me, and while he's solving it, I'll just be having conversations with him about like his sports teams. He loves trains, so he would be teaching me about trains, and I like cars and trucks and shit like that. So like he would tell me about the motors that are inside trains, and I would just be like fascinated by all this.
Yeah, dude. I remember you after he told you that, you were so fascinated about how
I
much
was because I
horsepower
knew
those
it was a
trains had.
lot. Don't get me wrong. Don't
And
get
you
me wrong. I
camped
knew
on
it was a
that.
lot. I'm not a complete idiot, but I don't know nothing about trains. You know, like I don't know. I asked him a
Right.
question. I
Well,
was
they're upwards of
oh fuck
thousands of
the one
horsepower.
that he was telling me
You know,
about.
two,
The one he wanted to go
3,000,
look at.
3,000,
Yeah, say the
4,000
one that he wanted to
horsepower.
go look at was 3,000. I think he said. And I was like, damn. And my dumb
Yeah.
ass, as if these shits was like owned by Tesla and we had electric trains. I was like, oh, I was like, so they probably use like what, like a diesel motor? And he looked at me like, yeah. Like it's not still steam engines, but like, what is this? Is it fucking the 1700? Like I was like, the way he looked at me, I was like, wow, I feel like a goddamn idiot. I'm 20 years old and I don't know what
Right.
powers a train. Like,
Who's really
yeah.
teaching who
But
right
nah, he
now?
was a cool kid. And at one point, we're sitting near the window and this old Chevy truck drove by. And I was just looking at it and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. It's an old C10. And he looks over
Yep.
and he said something to me about the year of it. And I was like, yeah, it's pretty old. He goes, yeah, but those hubcaps are from a 65. Or he said something like along those lines. And I was like, excuse me? And he goes, yeah, they are. And he said it again. And I Googled it and he was right. And I was like, what the how do you know? Bro, any stat in the NFL 2014, 2015 and on, he's got it. It's insane. It is insane. He's not
Yeah.
autistic, but he's like borderline, you know? That's what I'm saying. It's more like the social aspect that he
Right.
lacks in. Everything else is all right. And
Right.
he was like I said, he was a pretty cool kid. And like people laughed at first when I said I fucked with hanging out with him. And his parents didn't believe me at work. They were like, yeah, no, he's a good boy. I was like, he's a good boy. Like he really is. And they were like, yeah, I know he is or whatever. And they were like, just saying like, yeah, so whenever you want to keep tutoring him or what, let us know. And I was like, if he still needs tutoring, let me know because I got you. And I actually fucked with hanging out with him so much
Right.
that they John asked me at one point, that's his stepdad, was like, hey, would you mind like if you ever hang out with him or anything like that? And I was like, oh, for sure, dude. Just let me know. Just let me know. It was over the summer. It was after I'd moved back into my mom's house. And he was like, yeah, for the summer while he's not at school, you mean just to get him out the house and doing shit. And I was like, yeah, let me know, bro. I'll take him up to the lab or something. Like, just chill. And he was like, oh, word. It never ended up
Mm-hmm.
happening, but he likes trains and goes chases trains with his grandfather and stuff. So he has a lot of stuff like that. But either
Yeah.
way, I was like, yeah, I was like,
Well, shit
whatever,
comes
dude. It
up.
doesn't really bother me. But I was just like, yeah, if he wants to, I'm down with it. But that was like the issue of being moved out of my mom's house was the fact of at 20 years old when I moved out, I realized I was ready for like the responsibilities aspect of it. I was covering all my bills and all my responsibilities, all my laundry, and actually helping some of the other guys out quite a bit. And I was still able to have my fun and buy everything I wanted to have for fun, you know, like not necessity stuff,
Yeah, I remember
but
that.
I was not ready for the freedom aspect of it because I was just wilding out and doing pretty much whatever the hell I want. We like I said, we partied all the time, and it was as if we were at college, but
Okay.
just never. None of us ever even stepped foot into college. No, that house. There wasn't a lot of drama that happened there. Thank God. You know what I mean? Like I said, we all
Right. I mean, there was also other nights though where it would be just all of us and then maybe like two other people, and we just play fucking Mario Karts and play Call of Duty. At the time, it
Black Ops
was
4.
Black Ops 4. We would, yeah, we would
Yeah,
just hang out,
there
do
was a
that
lot
shit.
of
Still drink
at
and have a
one
good time
point
or whatever. Oh my god, Dominic, the fucking
the Switch, yeah,
Switch,
but
man.
at one point it was like middle of the winter. There was quite a few people there, but not overly amount. It was kind of like a dead party. But me and Isaiah do this thing where we used to wrestle a lot. And one night in New York, we wrestled, and we were like, he slammed me against a toolbox, and I didn't really pick him up, but I slammed him onto the ground behind him on the concrete. And then afterwards, after we yelled at each other for a second on the ground, we just got up, and it was like nothing again. And it was like
Right. Well, mind you, everyone that had seen it happen
terrified.
was pretty concerned because they
Yeah.
thought we were actually gonna fight. Oh, it
Well, because
was.
we slammed
They're
each
like,
other
oh my
hard.
god, we thought you
Mind you,
guys
a
were
full
actually gonna fight.
toolbox that his
It
grandfather
was
has
hard
been
as
collecting
shit.
tools in for God knows how long. He slams me into it, and no matter what the weight of that was, him pushing my body lifted that toolbox up. And then when we slammed back down, I grabbed him, twisted him, and just like slammed his shoulders down onto the ground. And it was pretty fucking hard. Cause I remember hitting the ground
It
like
was hard.
decent. And everybody was just like staring at us like what the hell is going on? And we just got up like nothing.
They didn't know whether to jump. They didn't know whether to
Yeah.
jump in or like
But
do something. But I mean,
yeah,
we
but
were
at the
just fucking
apartment we
around.
went to do it once. Because we were arguing and we were getting ready to go at it in my kitchen. Because I was like, bro, I live here. I don't give a fuck. So I was ready to start going at it in the kitchen. And he was definitely ready.
Oh yeah, we were getting each
Yeah.
other's
And
face and everything. We knew we were just fucking around, but everyone
yeah,
else
so
was like,
everybody was like, if
"Bro,
you're
bro."
gonna do
But
something,
me
go
and Steve were
outside.
like, "Bro,"
And that's the last thing we had to hear.
and I was
Because we
like,
were like,
"Bet,
all right, fuck
bro."
it, let's go outside then. Hammered.
Like,
So
bet,
then we
bro,
go
meet me
outside and
outside
everybody's
then.
like, guys, stop. It's not like it's stupid. And we're like, whatever. We walk back inside. And I'm competitive, overly, like I'm way too competitive. And when we walk back inside, I was like, you're still a bitch though. Like the second my foot hit the linoleum in the kitchen, I was like, you're still a bitch. And before I even got my second foot
That's
in the
all it took.
kitchen, Isaiah was turned around facing me, like almost pushing me outside, but more just walking into me. And he was like, all right, let's go outside then. Let's go outside then.
Oh
And I was
yeah,
like, all
I
right,
was
fuck
ready.
it. So
I was ready, bro. I was ready, bro. I was
there was
like,
this
let's
one
get it popping.
flat
Let's
spot in
go.
my
Let's do it.
backyard because my backyard was mostly hill. But there was this one flat spot between two hills.
Yeah.
And we go there and we're like, fuck it, we'll start wrestling. He pinned me the first time. I pinned him the second time. And then we get ready to go at it again. And one of my roommates is like, does the countdown. I go, but Isaiah hesitates for a second and then goes. So I'm already standing up, my hands are on his shoulders. And then I went to like push him back, but obviously he's got low center of gravity the way he stands, so I wasn't moving him nowhere. And he weighs like 220. I weigh 155 at the time. So that's the size difference if you guys are trying to like picture it. And he ended up just doing like he went to spin and throw me down. But when he did, his foot slipped and one of my arms got caught because as he went to spin me, I went to move my hands and get underneath him. And one of my arms got stuck on his hip
I was
between his
trying to
hip and
do.
his arm.
I was trying to do a. I was trying to do a hip toss, but there
Ice,
was so
yeah.
much fucking ice where we were standing at. So when I went to go initiate that maneuver, my damn foot, my one foot slipped, and I had known that it was gonna be slippery, but obviously we just didn't
Yeah.
really give a fuck. So as soon as I go to do that, I fuck it because it was right as I was about to do my hip toss, and as soon as I get both my momentum going, my foot gave out, and pretty much it was way harder than
Not
I
only that,
expected
like I
it.
said,
But it was, and I came
yeah.
straight down on
And
because your arm was
I landed
underneath
wrong too.
where
Because my arm got
I
stuck
didn't
between your
plan.
hip and your arm when you went to do that. My right arm did. And when I went to land, I finally got my arm
Yeah,
free, but I put my arm like underneath me and like kind of twisted. That's the only way I could get my arm underneath me to like break the fall. And what ended up happening was my arm dislocated and popped back in. And when it did that, it broke my shoulder when it popped back in because it popped back in as he threw me onto my shoulder and landed on me. So it ended up just breaking the bone because it hit so hard. And
Yeah,
so,
and right as that's happening, I throw, I, we're on the ground, and I go to get up. I was about to start talking shit, but it was clear pain in his face, like
and like
real
I can
pain,
get hurt and be all
and
right
he
most of the
just he
time.
just
Like I'll get hurt and be like, it's whatever. Like I played sports, I know how it goes, you know. But
yeah, I know him pretty well, so I'm about to get up, and he just kind of like grabs me like, don't move, don't move, don't move, don't move, and I was like, oh my god, I just
because
snapped his neck. Like, what's wrong? What happened? And he was like, bro, my shoulder, and I was like,
as you were getting up,
oh, I really fucked
I went
up.
to roll over, and I'm right-handed, so I went to get up on my right arm and push up. As I went to roll to my right, I can feel my arm like kind of float a little bit, and then it was just a straight pain. And I was like, something is not okay over there. I was like, I don't know what it is, but it's definitely not. It's not where it's supposed to be.
Yeah, you made it very
Yeah.
clear that it wasn't okay. And then
And then
as soon as
once,
that happened, of course, everyone was watching us.
yeah, there
By
was
the way,
everybody out
there
there.
was a couple people as an audience, and so a couple of
Well,
them
because
rush
they even
over,
said it. They said
and
the
they are trying.
noise when I
Mind you, you
landed
were
was
wearing
like a noise they've never heard, and they were like, "That's no bueno."
right, and they are all rushing over, and they're trying to get him to move his arm to take his fucking shirt off over
I
his
was
head
wearing
when he's
no,
wearing a
I
flannel,
was wearing my black
a
sweatshirt with the
button.
American flag on the back, the back-to-back World War champs. Yeah, because
Oh,
remember they
are you
said we should
sure?
cut the sweatshirt, and I said, "Fuck you, you're
Oh
not
yeah,
cutting
yeah.
my sweatshirt."
They said we
I
should
was
cut
like,
it off.
"Absolutely the fuck not."
Yeah, and
I had just bought that like 2 weeks
yeah,
before.
and then there was a couple people like, "Oh, just lift his arm. We got to pull it off, and we have to
I was
get
like,
off him." And I was
"You don't
like,
gotta
"Don't
take shit
fucking
off of
touch
me,
him."
dog." First of
I was like,
all,
"Leave
it's
him
like 20 degrees out. It's the middle of winter at night,
cold,
and you're
cold."
not taking my sweatshirt off. That's not happening. Bring me to the hospital. They can handle it. But
Yeah.
so
So
anyway,
that
it was
happened,
a bitch to
and
get me to the car. But to make a long story short, I blacked out between getting up and arriving at the hospital. But mid me being blacked out from the pain and from just drinking the whole night, um, Crispy said I still somehow gave him directions to the hospital, and I was like, I don't remember any of that. And he was like, yeah, bro. He was like, you were like sleeping, and once we'd come up to a turn, I would wake up and be like, go that way. And he would be like, all right. And then he said I'd fall asleep again. And he said the fucked up part was my head was like leaning on the window, so I wasn't even looking straight. I was looking out the window, and my eyes like were closed, everything. And then I would just wake up and be like, yo, take this left. And he said that he was like, fuck it. He just put like full trust in me at the moment to be like, we're getting to the hospital. And which, mind you, I only
yeah,
lived like probably 7 minutes away from the hospital. Like I said, I lived right in the middle of town, and it's a small town. And we get to
not a
the
far drive.
hospital, and I have to fill out a bunch of paperwork and shit. And that's when I came back too, because you sober up real fast when you're around any officials, whether it's medical, police, anything. You're around an official, you sober up real fast. And everything hit me at
Oh
once
yeah,
though, and I
oh
was
yeah.
like, "This hurts like a bitch." And Chris was like, "You just dislocated it, bro. You're fine." I was like, "This definitely hurts. I didn't. It's not. If I dislocated it, it's not located because it's not okay." And we're sitting at
Like
the
this is
hospital, and the girl
out
at
of
the ER is
where it's
asking all
supposed
the
to be.
typical questions. And Crispy was like, "Can you just like check his shoulder out?" Like, so
Yeah, he was there
so
for
we
you,
ended up
man. He
getting
was there for
into.
you.
They didn't put us in a room. They put us in like that hallway room with the curtain because I was not important, obviously, to them.
Yeah, yeah.
And
What the fuck?
so the girl walks in, the nurse, and she's taking my vitals and all that, like typical nurse stuff. And she asked me, she's like, "So do you what'd she say?" It was just typical shit like, "Where do you work?" All that. And then at one point she goes, "Do you use any drugs, like prescription drugs?" I was like, "No." And she goes, "Do you use any street drugs?" I was like, "No." And when I said no, she looks at me like dead in my eyes, like leans in a little bit and goes, like, "Marijuana is a street drug." And she just looks at me and I was like, I knew I'd smoked that night, but I was like, no, the fuck? Like, you're not gonna accuse me
Absolutely
and
not.
just throw it in my face like that. So I was like, nah, fuck you. So then while we're sitting there, she goes, "Do you drink?" And I was like, yeah. She goes, "Did you drink tonight?" And I was like, yup. Like, you can't tell. And I'm sitting here with a broken shoulder, and I smell like Budweiser and Fireball. Like, so
Literally just smell like a walking
she's
liquor
like,
store.
she's like, oh, how much have you drank today? And I was like, a fucking lot. Because I didn't know. I'm not sitting there counting beers. We just bought a bunch of beer and drinks and went at it. So I was like, a fucking lot. And she was like,
Yeah.
okay, I didn't realize on the paper they write down word for word what you say, or at least she did. So on the paper it said
Right.
drinks, drank tonight, drank a fucking lot. And I was like, wow, all right, so you're taking me pretty literal.
Yeah.
So then the doctor walks in
It's like,
and he looks at it, whatever. And then I go get x-rays and they're like, yeah, so you broke this bone. And it actually was a fracture, not a break, but it ended up happening right where the rotator cuff connects to like your arm bone. And they said
right.
that if I just like stood up on my own and got up, that the rotator cuff would have ripped that piece of bone off because it was fractured enough where it was like barely hanging on, but it was fractured enough where if I had used it, it was gonna rip it off the bone because it was enough of a fracture to make it weak. And then I would have had to get surgery and get it like screwed down or pinned down or something. I don't know what he said, but I ended up Snapchatting my mom and my girlfriend at the time. And I was like, hey, I'm at the hospital, broke my shoulder.
Oh,
And I said something like my shoulders clapped, and it was like a bunch of shit. I sent them like multiple Snapchats. Just keeping everybody updated, doing what I was supposed to do. And like any other panicked 20-year-old at the hospital at 2 o'clock in the morning. And the next morning, my mom calls me at like 7 o'clock. Oh, mind you, when I got home from the hospital, they had a immobilizer on me, which is just like this band that velcros around your whole torso and your one arm, so you cannot move that arm. And I had a sling underneath that. So I had my hoodie up over everything, but my arm obviously inside like the torso part of it. And when we show up, Isaiah and all of them went to his mom's house just in case the police showed up because I wasn't 21 at the time and I was drinking. But neither was Isaiah, so it's not like he really got in trouble. But there were other guys there who were 21, so they all dipped. And they came back when I came back with Chris. And Isaiah walks in. Four Loko in hand. And I show him the immobilizer because I'm still buzzed, obviously. Like, and I lift up my shirt and like my sweatshirt and show him the immobilizer and the sling. And I was like, bro, look at me. And I said something like, I look like I forget what I called it. It was like a cyborg or something. It was something stupid. And he was like,
Yeah,
bro, I don't want to
funny,
see that shit. He's like, I feel so bad. I was like, nah, you're good, bro. You're good. So then I sit down and he has a peach Four Loko in his hand and he pours some into a glass that's in front of me. And he was like, I'm sorry, bro. And I was like, I was like, all right. So then I drank some of that and then ended up just going to bed. And they were all still in the living room. But when I woke up at 7 a.m. to a missed call from my mom and my mom calling me at the moment. And she's just yelling at me. And I had the biggest hangover because I had the biggest headache because I was hungover. And I just got slammed on my head. So I was like, hella out of it. I don't know. I don't know if I had a concussion. I didn't feel any like symptoms of it, I guess. I didn't go into a coma when I slept, so fuck it. But
I mean, well, that's a good thing. At least, I mean, I'm surprised they didn't check
bro.
for
well,
that.
Well, they asked me if I hit my head, and I said, "Nah, I landed on my shoulder." Not thinking that when I landed on my shoulder, my head clapped the ice.
Oh, hard. It was hard.
Yeah, so she's yelling at me. I just set my phone on my chest. It was barely listening. I was like, yep. So the next day, since Isaiah felt bad his mom and siblings actually, they all took me to Golden Corral. So it was lit. And that's when me and David stole the biscuits. Because I had the immobilizer around the sling. And David, his little brother, grabbed a bunch of biscuits, wrapped them in napkins. And I was like, we can put them in my sling. Like, that's definitely a slick way to leave. What are they going to do? Ask me about it? No one wants to ask like do with a broken bone. You know what I mean? So we just stuffed that buggy full. It looked like I had like Terry Cruz's arm in the sling. Like it was just thick. Yeah, no. The apartment was fun. There's a lot more stories about the apartment, but those are kind of like the main. Those are the main ones.
Yeah, we'll definitely.
Yeah, because those are like the biggest ones, but there's a lot of stuff that happened.
Yeah, there was. I mean, we can definitely get into more of that stuff.
But we passed an hour already, so.
Yeah, I say
This is a pretty good
We
one.
do
We
what we
talked
do.
about
Hey,
your college, and we talked about acid and hams.
yep, yep. Well, that's a little bit more of a piece of us, and it's
Northeast
Northeast
Kingdom, baby.
Kingdom.
As always, y'all know what to do. Go show Peace Soul some love on YouTube, man.
Yeah. Meeting people, seeing places, call that shit connections. Searching for that wisdom, man, I'm craving for those lessons. I've been taking risks, I think I need someone to check me. Don't check me. All these girls distractions for my money, that's my passion. I be sleeping when I'm dead. I ain't got no time for napping, trying to make this music happen. And we can spit a track or two.